AITA for touching my autistic roommate to get him to move out of a doorway? I live with 3 other people, we all split the rent evenly on the 4-bedroom house. We live in a LCOL area, but pretty much of all of us are minimum wage earners, so we can't live by ourselves. My roommate, Trent, told us he was autistic when he moved in. We asked him if there was anything we should know about his condition to make sure he was okay, and he said pretty much not to engage with him unless he initiates it. He likes wearing his AirPods a lot, and when he is at home he is glued to his phone or his pad with his buds in. If we have to talk with him about anything, we normally have to wait until he gets off his tech, so we normally just leave a note on the kitchen bench. Once we interrupted when we were ordering Uber Eats, and he seemed okay once he realized it was about takeout. He pays the rent on time and cleans up after himself, so it's no big deal. We all do our own thing. Anyways, he was walking slowly towards the door one day and was glued to his phone and had his AirPods in and just stopped in the middle of the doorway. I was wanting to get by him because I needed to head to work and waited about 30 seconds with no sign he was moving. I put my hand on his forearm and said, "Hey, sorry, I need to get by." He turned around and looked at me and just blew up and went on like a minute about how dare I touch him. A lot of comments about me being overweight and that's why I couldn't get past him and how I made him dirty by touching him. I just blinked and said, "Look, just get out of the doorway, I have to go to work." Anyway, I was really surprised about how angry he was, but a lot of his comments seemed to be about my being a big woman and someone like me shouldn't be touching someone like him. He moved and I got by and just got on with my day. So it seems he complained to my other roomies about it. One is saying, "AITA, I should have just waved my hand in front of the phone so he knew I was there. It didn't occur for me to do this tbh, but I don't think I am an aw for not thinking of this." The other is saying Trent is being a bit precious about it all, and probably wouldn't have been so snotty about it if I had been a VS model. Lol. It's no big deal for me emotionally, it's going to blow over, but AITA for touching him to get him to move? AITA for telling my dad that his personality is weird and the reason why I don't like him? I, 28M, have never had a good relationship with my dad, 68M. He was too strict and barely spoke to me but was perfect for my siblings. It's mainly because he was a very wild teenager and I guess he saw himself in me somehow. He thinks I'm a fuck up for having a child at a young age even though I have a master's degree, have a high-paying job and my son actually likes me. My son, 6M, has recently gotten into the habit of calling me by my first name. I think it's adorable and hilarious and I don't mind at all. In turn, I call him by his full name. He has a long first name and we usually address him with a shortened version, so if his name was Nicholas, we'd call him Nick. Sometimes I add embellishments so he'd be Sir Nicholas I or something ridiculous like that. It's hilarious and I love it. My dad thinks I'm allowing my son to disrespect me, and he has shouted at my son before for it. I forced him to apologize. I still have a very good relationship with my mother, 64F, and she often watches my son for me while I'm at work or busy. When I went to pick him up yesterday, he said, "Hello, my name," and I shook his hand and said, "Sir," his full first name. My mom was rightfully confused, so I explained the joke to her and she found it hilarious. My father overheard this conversation and said that I was teaching my son that it's funny to disrespect me. He started yelling at my son to apologize to me and I snapped and said, "This is why I don't like you, you're fucking weird." Yes, I know I shouldn't have sworn around my son. My dad asked why I meant by weird and I told him his personality is awful and he's extremely weird to be so bothered about a child being funny. I took my son and left after that. My brother called me later and said I was an asshole for insulting our dad. He's saying that insulting someone's whole personality is out of line and instead, I could have insulted his actions and I made it worse by saying it's the reason I don't like him. He's saying that I should apologize, but I don't think I'm wrong. AITA?